Hi guys, how's it going? So as you may notice, there are a few tweaks to this thing. We've got rid of all of the chests. Didn't really need them. There is enough output from the transport things to plug straight into the water tube in Malarkey. So what we've done is we have put 10 water cannons onto one sort of water device, if you like. This means that we kind of cut down on the weight for one thing, and the logic in terms of the water cannons, just in terms of how they fill it with water basically. Groups of 10 and a group of 5 in the middle, because this is where I think my trouble is going to be, so I want to keep it in the middle. Also, doing it this way lets me see if there's any anomalies going on. Like you can see here, we managed to miss one. Currently, it all still runs off of one sensor. As you notice, we can up the speed a little bit, and it seems to be good. Up it a little bit too much more, and yeah, it doesn't seem to be able to hack it. So it does work on the slower speeds, so we're looking good. It's doing what we wanted to do. We wanted it to water, it's doing well. Today we're going to be looking at adding in harvesting and planting, and I'm going to run this off of the same sort of sensor I did, because we've still got that same black dot. That black dot is in the middle of the crops, and if we set it up right, the vacuum pumps I'm going to put on here, they will activate at the right time when they need to. So I'm thinking we're going to do harvesting first, and I want to put a row of vacuum pumps across the front. Now I say a row. If you guys know vacuum pumps, you know that you don't need a row because they can do a 3x3 kind of section. So this will help us spread out a bit, so got a little bit of space in between. However, in vanilla, currently, I'm aware that if you have two vacuum pumps overlapping when they draw in, you'll end up with a soil duplicate. So if you are going to try something like this, just kind of take it a little bit easy, a little bit caution. Also, I didn't realise this, but apparently you can't connect anything to the top of a water pump, so kind of throw a block in here, which is something that we can connect our vacuum pumps to. It's not too bad, I suppose. It gives us a little bit of a space between everything, so everything's not too cramped up. But I'll just run this in, and I'll throw some vacuum pumps on. You'll see what I mean about that space. Okay, so when it comes to putting these things down, I'm going to put one here, and then we're going to miss two, and then put the next one. Miss two, and then put the next one. The reason that we're missing two is because the pump on the right-hand side will cover one set of blocks, the pump on the left-hand side will cover the other set of blocks. So for the most part, these will never overlap. And I'll do it from like end to end, so I'll go right-hand side and left-hand side, etc, etc, so that I work towards the middle. So again, I know because there's 85 soil plots, it's a bit of a strange number to split by 3. So it means that if there's going to be an issue with the soil, it's going to be down the middle set. Like I say, I want to keep all my problems to the middle. It's just easier to find that way. I could try and force it to the end, but I think just doing it this way just lets me know. I've got my middle area to be like a red area, just so that it kind of helps me identify where problems are. And because I know how useful these teleportation tubes are, I'm just going to plug them straight into the vacuum pumps. They themselves have got their own little bit of storage, and bearing in mind it's going to be moving kind of slow, there is going to be plenty of time for them to draw the crops in and send them off to our storage system. That's going to be quite interesting, because we're going to have one set of storage that's going to split the fruit from the seeds, so that we basically send the same seeds back to the device. But yeah, this is just a nice and easy way. It keeps it all clean, there's less weight, there's not too much stuff going on here. Hopefully it's going to be working. Now, same with the water. Because the pump has moved forward a block, it means that we can in fact put a sensor in line with the vacuum pumps. The same sensor is going to pick up the same black mark, because the black mark is perfectly in position for the fields, hopefully. So we'll just run this sensor and just connect this up to the vacuum pumps. Luckily, because there's not as many vacuum pumps as there is water pumps, hopefully it's going to be easier to draw it out. But I imagine I'm going to get pretty lost again trying to do this. But you guys get the idea. As we roll forwards, sensor triggers, boop, and the vacuum pumps will be able to harvest 3x3 slots and get us all of our goodies. It's going to take some time to wire this up. So we're just going to run down and colour code these teleportation tubes. This is how these things work. I'm going to do them in a weird pink colour. No real reason other than just because. I did the vacuum pumps a pink as I was going along, so that I knew where I got to when I was connecting it. It was the only way that was making it easy and quick for me. But yes, so we've now got water to be kind of like a weird greeny blue colour. Our harvesting is like a pink colour, and then that means that we can sort all the storage out, and eventually we can put in our planting. So vacuum pumps for planting, it's not going to be anything crazy or, you know, anything too bonkers. We're literally going to duplicate kind of what we did with the watering system. So we're just going to run 85 vacuum pumps, the entire length of this machine. And then I'm going to use 6-way tubing. So why I'm going to use 6-way tubing, again, it's part of the mod, and it just means that I can connect everything up. So I'm thinking I'm going to run 6-way tubing across the top of all of these, so everything is connected. And then this will also cut down on the number of teleportation pods I use. I will also look at using those 6 ways to connect the kind of teleportation tubes up for the water as well. We'll see how it goes. It might work. The reason why I'm going to use 6 ways and not the tubing itself is because the tubing itself causes a lot of lag. It's really not good for your game. If you can avoid using tubing, do so at all costs. But that's all nice and kind of set up one side. We'll just take all this stuff out. This is just what we use for the, run the water up and down. We'll put this all back in at a later date, make it easier to get to. But you guys get the idea. So this is the 6-way tubing stuff that I was talking about. I'm basically going to slam this on top of the whole thing, run it all the way down the row. What this is going to do is going to connect every single vacuum tube up this side, which means we need less transfer tubes. A transfer tube has 10 storage and seeds come in packs of 20. So that's 200 seeds that we can pump into here at any one time. Bearing in mind it's only going to plant 85 at a time. We've got ourselves covered easily, even if we just use one transfer tube. I'm not going to use one, I'm going to use a couple more just to try and keep things kind of like a fail-safe, if you will. We'll see where we get to. Might also look at, like I said, linking the water up to this stuff, as well as potentially linking the harvesting pods up. But we'll see how it goes. I don't entirely know how we're going to link them harvesting pods up. It looks like we'll be vacuum tubing, but as I have said, that stuff can be kind of laggy, so we'll see where we get to, because we do have quite a lot here that we might end up with. So this is how I intend on linking the harvesting pods up to the rest of it. It's a bit of a slow day today. I was trying to work out why the vacuum pump didn't light up like it should do when you connect all your tubing up. And then it dawned on me that I actually haven't got any sort of transfer tube to tell the vacuum pump what to do. So after a slow bit of thought, I realised if I put a teleportation pod down, all the piping lights up and our vacuum pump knows what it's doing. So I'm thinking about running this across the top of all the harvesters, see what it does, see how it comes around. And I'm thinking if I could just kind of throw 3 or 4 of the teleportation pods at each end, then because they're all linked together, it'll have us sorted. We don't need to run too much in the middle. So I'll just have a look, see the entire length, and like I say, we'll run some piping in and just see how we feel about it. See if it works, see what the lag's like, and we might end up coming back to how we had it before. Who knows? Do not adjust your sets. There is nothing wrong with the device you're viewing on. As I'm going down removing the water connection tools and kind of putting in the remainder of the tubes, it is getting really laggy. It is getting so laggy. I just wanted to see if it's anything to do with, I don't know, like half pipes being disconnected or whatever. So I wanted to connect everything up and see where we're at. But honestly, the lag has gone crazy. I don't know what frames I get at this point. I don't even have any information to tell me that. But physically in the game itself, me just trying to move, me just trying to click buttons and stuff, there's a delay. It's really bad. Yes, I guess I have kind of got quite a few vacuum pumps and bits of pipe here, but I don't know, part of me thought it would be small enough not to cause an issue, but apparently that wasn't so. Even just after we got probably 5 or 6 linked up, it was causing us a bit of a headache. And yeah, the lag is real. I clicked the button and it is a bit crazy. It looks pretty, blinking away, but yeah, it's not ideal to use these tubes. So we're going to end up taking them all off and going back to how we were. If you don't try these things, you never know, I guess. Again, another quick little experiment. Hooking the water up to the 6-way tubing, because obviously everything is connected. We're going to see what happens when we run the vacuum pumps off of it like this. And again, just kind of cuts down on a little bit of size in a way. It means that the water can be spread across the entire 6-way tubing. So if for whatever reason there's one of the transfer tubes that doesn't pump enough water through to its water cannons, the others can kind of pick up the slack, if you like. It's all one massive shared system. So we'll just see how it goes. We'll link all these up and probably give it a little bit of a test drive, see what it comes out like. I mean, this should work, right? Also, as we did with the water pumps and do the same with the planters, I'm going to do in blocks of 10 again, because I'm going to need to run some logic off of this, because obviously I don't want it to plant when the machine returns. So instead of connecting up a million sensors a million times, I'm going to kind of connect each block of 10 vacuum pumps is going to have its own kind of logic block, so I can just then connect the sensors to the logic block and then just connect the logic block to the vacuum pumps. Do it that way around. It just kind of, it will save my brain a little bit, and hopefully it'll be not less wires to drag out, but it'll be easier to work out what's going on. And that way I can keep tabs, again, like I say, on stopping it from trying to plant when it's already planted. Hopefully, anyway. We'll see how it goes. This is just one massive experiment, and it's just, yeah, trying to work out what can go wrong, I guess. Hello, if you're still here. I'm just working on the logic now so that the planters will plant only when it travels in one direction. I understand that, yes, that means that if there's some missed plants or whatever, when it comes back, it's not going to plant them, but I just want to get one huge farm done. I'm not worried about directions and planting endless plots, and I guess I'm not worried about efficiency too much just yet. I'm just working on the concept that, is it possible to do it? So I just want to whack this sensor in here, and this sensor will be the one that controls all of our planters, literally the same way that the other sensor's done. The only difference is this one is going to be connected to logic just to kind of make controlling it a little bit easier. Hopefully. So now we are back to the whole propulsion of the damn thing. We're going to run this off an electric motor and one of those fancy controllers that are available in the mod pack that has 2 inputs which changes the direction round. So it's going to be interesting. I'm going to run it off of God knows how many memory bits. So we're going to have a memory bit that lets me start it, and then we'll have a memory bit that when it senses that it's at the end, will basically flip it in reverse direction so it comes back, and then I'll have another memory bit or something that says when it's back, it'll just basically shut off everything. There's probably an easier way to do it. You guys might know I'm no expert when it comes to logic. I love memory bits, and anything that I can over-engineer with a memory bit, I pretty much will do. But yeah, this is going to be where we're at, just to make this thing shift down and come back and stop doing what it wants to do. And then we'll just run it up and see what happens. I currently don't have any seeds in. I guess I just want to see if the water will work again because we have tweaked it a little bit. Right now, I'm just sorting out the logic, so let me try and talk you through this. What we've got is, we've got an AND gate, and I think it'll be a whatever reverses the input gate. So we're going to have, the sensor's going to go from, the sensor that picks up the black dot is going to go to the AND gate. And the AND gate is then also going to be connected to the other logic block. And what I'm connected to this other logic block is this black memory bit here. This black memory bit here is basically our return direction. So what I'm saying is, when the return direction is on, when it's coming back, then the output logic that it's going into up here will be off, which means that it won't activate the AND gate along with the sensor, meaning that the planters will not plant. I hope that makes sense to you guys. All the planters are all connected up to run off of the AND gate as well, so that it only works when it goes forwards, like I say. And yeah, everything logic-wise is connected. It should work. It's a bit of a nest of wires and stuff, but we'll see how it goes. Looks pretty funky. We just have to tweak everything, make sure that we're happy with sensors and stuff, and everything's good so far. Everything looks like it could be working. So that's exactly what I don't want. So we're going to flip it, boop, so that when that memory is activated, obviously that block is now off, so that it will not plant. Hope you guys understand anyway. And of course, before we set ourselves off on any sort of voyage, we need to make sure that the vacuum pumps are going to be going the right way. No point in trying to plant if it's not going to be working. So we'll try and make these things go in the downwards direction just so that it can flump out some seeds. I'm sure flump is the right term, but yes. But I do have a bit of an issue with a couple of them. For whatever reason, they seem to be all wired up and whatnot, but they just don't want to give me the option to add a triangle or flip the triangle around. It didn't seem to matter if I was directly connected to the transfer tube or if I was in a 6-way pipe either, so that was a bit of an interesting one. But these are pretty easy to switch directions. You just run down and smash your E button and it like spins it and then just make sure that it's going the direction that you want it to do. But yeah, we do seem to have a little bit of tricksters going on. Not entirely sure why. Alright, cool, so we've just plugged some batteries into the battery pack. We're going to whack the reset button so all logic is reset. And we will go and see how this thing goes along. It's blinking massive, but it's an interesting one. Seems to be a little bit dainty. Better remove that block. You can hear the sensors firing, but for some reason the water cannons aren't shooting. And now we've just got water, but we've just got water from our vacuum pumps, rather than the water jets itself. Okay, so it turns out that potentially connecting the water through the six-way tubing isn't going to work, despite the fact that the water cannons are connected to what they should be connected to, and they are connected to a sensor. They are not firing the water. The water is coming out of the vacuum pumps. Interestingly enough, it's missing. So I don't really know what's going on there. Even with everything that is connected, we're still not getting water fully out of the vacuum pumps. I hope this doesn't mean we're going to have the same issues with seeds. But yeah, there is some tweaking to do. I need to kind of go and switch the water back so that they're not connected to the six-way tubing. Oh boy. Attempt number 5,000. So I've reset the water back to how it was. It now no longer runs off the six-way piping. It is now just connected to itself and to the water pumps themselves. And we're just going to roll. Again, we don't have any seeds. We're not going to be planting. We're just trying to kind of get back what we had with the water. And that's good. So the water is now, once again, firing from the water cannons. And it's also firing out of the vacuum pumps. I imagine that's because we're going to have some water left over inside these. Yes, we do. So it's going to use up what it's got. That's not a problem. But I know for a fact that it is firing from the water cannons, which is exactly what we wanted to do. Not a big problem. We'll just take all this stuff out of here and we'll look at setting up the storage system for our seeds and our like vegetables and fruit and everything else, so that hopefully we can transfer everything over to these guys. Yeah, I know that this side is kind of all run off of transport tubing as well. It's because I was trying to work out, is there a pro and con versus direct input to the vacuum pump or sharing it across the six-way pipe. So there's like a quarter of this that is like just fed directly. It's all a learning curve, guys. I'm sorry. Onto our storage and sorting thing. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to whack 3 of these monster chests down this side. I'm going to whack 3 of these monster chests down this side. And what I'm going to do is, using the mods, I am going to filter the fruit and veggies out of one side and into the other. And this is really easy. I'm just going to set up a 6-way pipe tube, and then I'm just going to put like a, I don't know what you call it, like a bend on it, I guess, and put on, so we've got 3 vacuum pumps in total. And then what I really like about Fonts mods is you can use a small chest as a filter. So I'm going to set these things up, and then I'm going to go and get my chest. Now you've got to put the chest on the side that the kind of the arrow that you see is. So I'm going to switch these so that they draw in. And then with it being normal colour, you can go into your chest and you basically tell it what to filter out. So if it was white, it'd take everything but those options. But as it's any other colour but white, it will take just those options. So we're going to go in here and we'll throw in all the fruits. And I'm going to put this in all 3. So that means that when we get our seeds and our fruit into our goodies, that our fruit and only our fruit will get transferred into these 3 big tubes that we've got here, which keeps our seeds separate, which means that then we can send from that same block there, it'll hopefully just send the seeds. So I'll just show you here. Look, so we'll throw some fruit and we'll throw some seeds in, all of these things, just to kind of randomize it a bit, just so you guys kind of get the picture about what's happening. We jump in here, put these here. Loads of seeds in there. This is just to be an example. And there we go. So now if we go in, flick the switch, bloop, you'll see, you can kind of see the tomatoes and stuff running through the vacuum pump. But now if we look inside, all that we're left with is the seeds in every single one. So it takes a fruit, leaves a seed, which means that we can resend the seed back out to the harvesting devicey thingy. And hopefully all will be good. So it's automatically sorted and will automatically deal with itself, hopefully. Now the easy bit, we've just got to put on the transfer tube and stuff, and we're going to colour coordinate it, so we might as well make these bad boys a nice beautiful pink, which means this is what's going to be harvested. So it's going to throw all the harvest stuff in here, and then depending on the numbers, might as well take this one off actually. We're going to throw in the other direction, and this is going to pump out the seeds. And that way, well, that way, like I say, it splits the seeds from the crop, really. Then we just got to colour coordinate those as well. Just to note, there is also a filter in those transfer tubes that I could have put in just so it literally only takes seeds as well. But I decided to risk it and wing it and see what happens. We're just going to spray these purple and just colour coordinate everything. So now all we've got left is colour coordinate these things, by which point they pretty much should start sending seeds straight away. And then basically we've just got to throw some seeds in here. The joys of dev commands, we can go in and we'll put a lot of seeds in here. And then this will send them to the machine, and the machine will do what the machine does. So hopefully this will work. Wah! Primed and ready. Oh god, help us. One final systems check, reset everything, and away we go. Hopefully it should work. So obviously there's nothing to harvest. Watering's watering. Planting's planting. And it looks like it's doing the rows. We seem to have anomalies down the middle, but everywhere else is working. I've just gone to see what the speed's like. Speed is good. But for whatever reason, the two vacuum pumps straight in the middle aren't firing. Everywhere else seems to be going good. We've got our farm warning. Awesome. However, seem to have two raid clocks. So I don't understand what's going on with these two vacuum pumps because they are all connected. Everything's connected to the right bits. The vacuum pumps themselves are connected to the right place. Just for whatever reason, well, it's just a no. It's just a straight up no. Disconnect it and reconnect it to the AND gate. Still doesn't work. Doesn't trigger when it wants to trigger. I don't understand why it's this section though. It's the smallest section. There's only like 5 vacuum pumps here, so I really don't understand. They seem to be going in the same way that everything else should be. It just doesn't seem to want to do it. We'll throw a seed tube on top so it's kind of more direct. Again, it's a great big nope. So I'm out of ideas for this one. Unless it's because it's kind of bridging 2 tiles perhaps. But look at this for a farm. How incredible does this look? The frustrating thing is somewhere along my lines when it came to laying out the farm plot, I've got it completely wrong and I've ended up going across 2 tiles which I did not want, and for whatever reason we seem to have the 2 in the middle not working. I've taken them off and even put them back on again and it doesn't seem to change anything, so I don't really know what's going on here. Part of me was hoping maybe I got 2 raid timers because there's a split down the middle. We're also out of seeds, which means I didn't put enough in. I only put like 6,000 in and I needed 7,200. Working with these numbers is a little bit confusing, but there you go. So, yeah. It works, but we've got things a little bit wrong. Look at this field, man. It looks amazing. The patterns and the rows and stuff's incredible. So the thing does work. So I have managed to make something, for the most part, that will work. Maybe a little bit tweaking here or there. Maybe have a look, see what's going on with that middle thing. I really don't understand it. But, yeah, what do we do now? I guess the only other thing that we can do is try and find a proper tile. That's what I hoped would happen. Unfortunately, it didn't happen. So I gotta let this grow and see how the harvesting system works as well. I want to fill it all in just because it looks a lot better when it's full. But yeah, long story short, guys, I'm gonna let this grow and then we're gonna see if it will harvest, and if it harvests, I've managed to make a machine that will do an entire plot, give or take a row. Fingers crossed. Then it's just a case of, yeah, we'll try and find an actual one world tile to see if we can make it work on one world tile. But what a machine. There's a lot of demand, I guess, for this kind of thing on the game engine. Maybe that's why the middle plot doesn't want to work. Who knows? There's just such random anomalies that I don't understand. Like I say, I took the vacuum tube completely off and put it back on again, rewired everything back up, and for whatever reason that middle section just doesn't want to have it. Maybe that's a big enough hint to let me know that it is between two world tiles, but even so, render distance and that, it shouldn't matter. It should still work. The reason why it should still work is the vacuum pumps up either side of it seem to work, so I don't understand. But yeah, one massive field of what's going to be 7,200 and something plots. Mad. I guess one thing that is worth noting as we sit here atop our harvester is some of these things have already grown, but the most part haven't really grown that well. I mean, when you think about it, this was planted in rows. Yeah, we got raided. But yeah, this was planted in rows, and you kind of expect it to grow in a similar fashion across the length of the row. But if you look, its growing is so random. This will kind of make harvesting really tricky, because you can't sort of set up an auto harvester as such, because how do you know which crop to view in order to trigger when to set the harvester off? If you do something this big, this scale, the growth is so strange. So strange. Good luck to anybody who tries to do this. Okay, so it's been one literal eternity waiting for these things to go, and I'm fed up of waiting. I'm just going to jump on board, and we're just going to go. I just want to see if it will harvest, and it will water, and it will plant. And the only way to do that is to do it. Most of this stuff looks like it is ready, so let's just go for it and see what happens. So it does sound like it's harvesting, and it is watering, and we are planting again. We seem to be missing crops. I don't know if we're missing it because they're just not quite ready when we go over the top of them, or if we're just missing them just because there's something a bit sketchy with a couple of the vacuum pumps. Looking at the pattern that's happening though, there's no real pattern going on. It seems like all the vacuum pumps to harvest are firing when necessary. Again, maybe not those middle two. No, the middles are. So yeah, everything seems to be working to a degree. Maybe there's not enough space with the transfer stuff going on. But no, for the most part, it seems to work. We are harvesting, we are watering, and we are replanting. So it is working. But yeah, those two tubes at the front, they are harvesting, but they're not planting. I honestly, I don't know what's going on with these. But for the most part, it works. We've achieved what we sort of wanted to achieve-ish. I say ish because we wanted to do this on one entire tile. We wanted to do an 85 by 85 farm plot on one tile, so we got one raid. Unfortunately, that didn't happen. We were across two, so we ended up kind of getting two raids. But in all fairness, although we got raided, and yeah, I didn't show it, it was quite a small raid. It was probably like 4 or 5 haybots at most, with probably like, I don't know, at most 6 greenies. So yeah, that was like night one for a plot this big, which I guess is realistically it's halved. It's kind of split in two across 2 plots, but yeah, it's not too bad. I will go on the hunt to see if I can find an area that I can fit one farm of this sort in. Honestly, all I can do is kind of have a little bit of a mini celebration that, to a degree, this is very successful. To a degree. Don't get me wrong. Obviously, as you can see, we are missing plots that we're not harvesting. But the good news of that is when we get to the end and come back, the harvester will still harvest. The water will still water. Yes, I understand the planter will not be planting, but we will be harvesting at least. So we will get everything and we'll water everything. So it's all ready for the next Passover. But the next Passover would also harvest and water it as well. So there is a little bit of a, I don't know, a missed opportunity there. But like I say, we were building it to test that it was possible. We weren't necessarily building for efficiency. That does open the doors up to, you know, more progression of this thing. Once I find a plot, I'll be happy to kind of tweak this thing and have a look at stuff. Maybe run a couple of things on a monorail system or something, just go over the top of us. But I'm quite pleased. It was hard work. I know I use dev commands, but honestly, there's no dev command for connecting everything up. There's no dev command that kind of places everything in place. You've got to do this as you see it. So yes, the materials were limitless, but the effort is still there. It was a tricky one. I would recommend anybody do it because it's a bit of a learning curve along the way, and you do pick a few things up and you will hit some obstacles that make no sense. But I guess that's scrap mechanic logic for you. It's been an enjoyable one. Enjoyed it, please don't forget to smash that like button. All is great. What I'm going to do when this is I'm just going to speed things up a bit, and I'm just going to let the video play out. So you're going to see this thing go all the way to the end, and then it'll go all the way back. I'll, like I say, speed up the speed a bit so we're not waiting for hours, but yeah, I'll just show you the full length of it. Anyway guys, thank you very much for watching. It has been interesting. Take it easy, and I'll see you next time. Don't know what we'll be doing, but peace out. See you in the next video. Bye guys. Bye everybody.